Alright, so this is my first time doing this. So, don't know if this is too bright. I don't know if the camera's straight, because I'm using my phone. The backward facing camera. So, I have been putting this off for a while. Mainly because I don't know who I'm making this for. I think it's mainly for me that I'm making this. My name is Paul, and I am, as of yesterday, I am 100 days sober from meth. So this is kind of I guess just a log of my recovery, and I think it's to keep track, just to remember. When I was in active use, I used to take audio recordings of myself, just so I could have some kind of, like I said, log of where I was and where I'm going, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of wish I would have started this back then, so I could see my progression. But I think a big part of recovery is staying busy, finding something you care about, and keeping your mind occupied. So this is partially what I'm doing that for. It's also because if I do relapse and anything ever happens to me, I want my family to have this, I think. So yeah, I'm going to just kind of start with a small, kind of a brief history of how I got here. And so it's probably 17 the very first time maybe 16 the first time I used Oxycontin. I'm 28 now, so it was 12 years ago, almost 13 years ago. I was in high school when I did that, obviously, and I eventually, when I got in college, I started using heroin intravenously because Oxycontin got too expensive. It's a pretty common theme you'll see in people in recovery, from opiates specifically. And I used heroin for maybe 2 years, and through that time I was homeless, living out of my car, living out of Motel 6s, doing stuff for money, just one of the worst parts of my life. I got sober from heroin, let's say 7 years ago. I got on Suboxone, and haven't touched it since, which I'm proud of. I'm glad I did that. It was right before people started putting fentanyl in opiates, so I got lucky. So I was sober for, I want to say, 5 years. I still haven't touched heroin or an opiate. I'm still on Suboxone, so I've been sober from that ever since I stopped. About 2 years ago, through certain avenues, I started using meth. I won't get into too much detail, but I met a girl and kind of was crazy about her, and just through one thing led to another, and we were using meth together, and I started smoking it, and then started injecting it because didn't learn my lesson, apparently. And then it spiraled from there, of course. It's interesting. Meth and heroin are obviously very different drugs, kind of do opposite things, but also with heroin, your life kind of falls apart. In my experience, anyway, your life falls apart very quickly. It's expensive. If you don't have it, you get very sick. Kind of everything you do is to avoid being dope sick. And So within like a month or two, again, in my experience, my life had fallen apart. I couldn't maintain. I was using every day. I was homeless. I, was terrified of being sick. And so it just becomes very obvious to everybody around you and to you that you can't keep doing this. It's unsustainable. So, but with meth, you your life does fall apart, but it's in a different way. It's mentally. Again, all this is just in my experience. Um, I always say heroin will kill you and meth will make you wish you were dead. Because if you can survive using heroin, it will. You can, if you don't do any damage to your body, through missing shots, getting gangrenous, having to lose limbs, stuff like that, which is a big deal, obviously. If your brain can survive it, then it can heal pretty quickly. You might deal with some depression and some of that through withdrawals and everything. So it's not a cakewalk. Of course, it's terrible. But with meth, you reach a point of no return. And I used to work at a hospital as a peer support specialist, helping homeless addicts. And I've seen a lot of that. A lot of people pass the point of no return. They're like children. They just use meth their whole lives, and they can barely feed themselves, dress themselves. It's very sad. But my point is that I had my own apartment. I had a full-time job, and I was good at it. I was good at the job. I delivered for Amazon over the last 2 years. So maybe about a year ago, I got my own place, and all the time, was using regularly, and maintained the job, got to work every day, not always on time, but through not sleeping for like 7 days at a time, or feeling like I'm having psychotic breaks from reality, I would always get to work. I'd always do the job. I always get paid, and I would always pay my rent. So in that way, it seemed like it was more sustainable. I did it for 2 years, and I was like, this is great. I got my own place. I got my all my stuff. I got my own car. I got a job. I'm sustaining myself. So there's nothing wrong with this. I can just keep doing this. It's of course incorrect. But it's not as easy to see, I guess, is my point. It's more difficult because it's dirt cheap, and because it doesn't kind of suppress you in the same ways that heroin does. It pushes you, gets you out the door. I was really fast deliverer for Amazon. So what kind of brought me to the point where I said I need to get sober was 100 days ago now. I got very sick, and like very, very sick. Like I think I had done a shot that had with a cotton that had some bacteria in it. And so I got extremely sick, horrible headaches, couldn't move without vomiting. I was in and out of consciousness, sweating on the floor. It was horrific. And so I called my dad and I said, hey, because I never, throughout all of this, I was very honest with everybody about everything. I don't lie. It's just I don't see any point in it. And so my family, of course, was all very scared for me and worried about me, and because they kind of saw me slipping mentally. And so I called my dad and I said, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to get out of here. And so he came in and got me, and he took me to the hospital and told me that I had, or he didn't take me to the hospital. I went home for a couple days, and then I started turning yellow from head to toe. So my parents took me to the hospital, and they did some blood work, and the doctor said I had hepatitis A. So that goes away. It's gone now. It's good. B and C do not go away, but hepatitis A does. And so I had it. I had gotten it from somewhere or something, and then when I got sick, a couple days prior, I was taking a bunch of Tylenol, and it's not very good for your liver. So that kind of exacerbated it, and made me very, very sick. And so I left my apartment, I left my job, and I just said, this is what I'm doing now. This is my full-time job. And so that's kind of a brief summary of how I got to where I am. I went to Inpatient out in Tucson for 30 days called Cottonwood. It's a great place. I really miss it. Wish I was still there, honestly. Yeah, so this is, if anybody's watching this that knows me, hasn't seen me in a while, hello. Life's been going great. I hope it has for you as well. So yeah, this is just kind of something to keep my mind occupied, and if anybody watches it and you know, finds some similarities or some likenesses in my journey as the journey they're going through, then I welcome you to come along. You know, it's hard to do this by yourself. Impossible to do this by yourself. So yeah, I don't know how regular I'll be posting or if I'll ever post again, honestly, but like I said, just something to do, something to keep my mind busy. I like editing. I like connecting with other people. So yeah, thanks for watching.